Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
No one believed me. My first experience with the paranormal was actually a string of experiences. I was 16, and my family had just moved into a new home. I loved the house. I had my own room that I picked myself, and I didn't feel any kind of hesitance while unpacking and decorating to make myself feel more at home. Everything was great. At least, for the first week. After school, I would get home with my little brother about an hour before my mom. One day, I was the first one in the home. I threw my bag on the kitchen table and found my cat standing frozen, staring at a door in the kitchen that led to our garage. I spoke to my cat. "What are you doing?" I walked towards him, but before I could touch him, a woman's scream came from the garage. My cat sprinted from the room, and I followed, taking my little brother with me outside and calling my mom. My brother insisted he didn't hear anything, and my mom suggested that I must have imagined it, but I knew it was real. Once my mom got home, we checked the house to find nothing. She suggested that I was stressed and watching too many scary movies. I didn't bother to argue any further. I could tell that I wasn't going to be believed, so I grabbed my bag and walked to my bedroom at the end of the hall. I stood in the doorway, freezing in my tracks. My closet door was slid open and hanging from its track as if someone had tried to pull it off, and my pillow was standing in the middle of the room, a flat flimsy pillow that I couldn't get to stand if I wanted it to. I yelled for my mom.
"Someone's been in my room!"
I accused. She came back, my little brother trailing behind her. I pointed in the room, only to find the pillow now lying flat, as it should have been the whole time. "You must have knocked it off the bed when you woke up this morning." She brushed it off, but I knew I hadn't, and even if I had, how was it standing like that? I played with the pillow for several minutes, trying to mimic the position it had been in, but I couldn't. It wasn't possible. I went to bed that night without a problem. While I did think what had happened earlier that day was strange, I didn't lose sleep over it, but I was prone to waking throughout the night, so like clockwork, I woke around 3 in the morning and got up to go to the bathroom. When I returned to the doorway to my bedroom, I froze. I could see a figure, sitting on the edge of my bed. It had no features, just the shadow of a large man. I leaned forward, squinting my eyes, trying to adjust my vision to the darkness of my room, but before I could move any further, the figure stood and charged at me. I've never screamed so loud. My feet came out from under me, and I hit the floor, my hand flipping on the light before I lost my balance. Nothing was there. My mom and brother were there in an instant, wondering why I was screaming and now crying on the floor. I tried to explain.
"You were dreaming,"
my mom told me.
"I was awake. I was up."
I tried to argue, but she shook her head.
"You must have been dreaming.
She insisted.
Go back to bed."
I didn't sleep well that night. The next day went fine. That is until I was back home from school. The house suddenly didn't feel like home to me, and my room did not feel like mine. I felt like I was invading someone else's space, and I was apologetic. I attempted to make an Ouija board out of cardboard and a clear bottle cap. I was desperate to confirm my own experiences. "Hello?" I said quietly, waiting for a response. "Nothing." "I'm sorry if we moved into your home. I'll be a good roommate. I'm very clean." I began to ramble, but the bottle cap never moved. I started to feel silly, looking down at the makeshift board, so I pushed it away and climbed into bed. That night, I heard something rattling around. I initially thought it was a large house moth, knocking itself into something. I flipped on my bedside lamp and noticed the board on the floor, only the bottle cap was standing on its side, spinning like a quarter in circles. I let out a breath of air in disbelief, and the cap dropped, once again motionless. I jumped out of bed and grabbed the board, tearing it in half and shoving it in the trash. I kept my lamp on for about an hour before I started to feel tired again. Reluctantly, I flipped the lamp back off and drifted to sleep. I slept with a blindfold on, irritated by the smallest bit of light, so when I awoke again, feeling the cold air of my fan, I assume I had kicked my blanket off in my sleep. I felt around the bed, trying to find it to cover myself again, but no luck, so I lifted my blindfold and was horrified to see my blanket, standing tall above me. I moved quickly, attempting to throw my feet to the side and run to the door, but the blanket fell, and I was forced back to my mattress, a weight suffocating me as if someone had just laid on top of me. I gasped for breath, trying to scream, but not a sound would escape my throat. I remember my eyelids fluttering as I lost consciousness from the lack of air. That morning, I awoke with my blindfold lifted, my blanket tossed to the side of the bed, and pain taking over my body. I knew I hadn't imagined it. I came out of my room and couldn't stop myself from crying when I found my mom getting ready for work in the bathroom. I tried to explain, but she didn't believe me. She never believed me.
You were dreaming.
She said to me,
You can stay home from school today. Try and get some rest.
I reluctantly nodded and went back to bed, still scared to really go back to sleep. I lay stiff and waited for the sound of my mom and brother leaving for the day. I heard the keys jingle and the door close. I was alone in the home. I rolled onto my stomach and cried into my pillow.
I'm sorry about your mom.
A voice said, clearly beside me. I gasped and sat up straight. No one. I couldn't handle being alone there. I got out of bed and walked to school. We moved out of the home shortly after due to my mom getting married, and all activity stopped, much to my relief.
Do you like listening to these stories? Do you want to hear more of them? Then click that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And check the description for links to more videos and interesting stories.
Recorded a shadow baby crawling in the reflection. I have never believed in anything paranormal in my life, but now I'm questioning this after being shown a video recorded by the friends of my girlfriend's parents. Family friends of my girlfriend recorded an innocent video of their baby laughing in his crib as the father makes silly noises to the kid. It was all cute until he showed the video to his wife, who immediately pointed out something odd and told him to rewind. I'm not sure what the material is, maybe a glass fireplace shield, but behind the crib and within the reflection, an unmistakable shadow/silhouette appears of a human baby as it crawls on the floor with its head drooped down before it crawls out of frame a few seconds later. The couple then records another video as they play back their first video in slow motion, gasping and speechless as they try to process what they're looking at. It's the type of video that would 100% go viral if posted, but the family does not want their child posted online, and I will respect this. I will, however, update in the morning and maybe post some cropped screenshots, as I would also be super skeptical if I read this post too. The video is on my laptop downstairs too, and even thinking about this video has me way too freaked out to leave my bed or watch it again at 1 a.m. I would love to post it and get anyone's thoughts. The house is brand new, and no family has lived in it before them if that matters. I keep getting goosebumps just thinking about the visual they recorded. Again, tomorrow I'll try and see what footage I can get posted. Has anyone here had any similar event happen to them? I want this to be fake so bad, or us to be simply mistaken by an illusion, but there is quite literally no other way to interpret the video. As cliché as it maybe was, this single event has had me questioning so much recently and truly frightened me to the core.
Series of unexplainable events that all happened right before a huge storm hit. So, I'm pretty convinced my home is haunted anyways, since my partner and I often see shadows from the corner of our eyes, strange noises, voices, etc. But never these many things all at once. If spirits can manifest through electrical energy, do we assume they can use the energy of a storm to manifest too? So, I'm sitting in my office at home in silence, by myself. No one else is in the house, and no one is in the house next door to me either. I live in a quiet area, so nothing I heard would have come from outside, plus all windows and doors were shut. Out of nowhere, I hear footsteps going down the stairs and then 3 thudding footsteps as though someone is walking across the hard floor downstairs. I ignore it at first, but then about a minute later I heard another 3 footsteps and a loud bang from downstairs, so I decide to go and investigate. So, I walk through into the living room, find nothing unusual, turn around to go back into the hallway, and at the foot of the stairs I see a kind of shining white/silver mist that floats in one spot for maybe 3 seconds, then vanishes in front of me. It was about a foot in diameter and maybe 2 feet high. I head back upstairs and sit down in my office again, and after another 2 or 3 minutes, this sudden rotten kind of smell just hits me momentarily. It was kind of like a blocked drain cross with burning rubber or something, not pleasant. But it lasted literally a second or 2 and was gone. I breathed it in twice, then it was just gone as quickly as it appeared. I checked around for a source of the smell, but there is absolutely no explanation, and as I mentioned, even the windows were shut. I try not to think too much of it, and shortly afterwards, my partner arrives home from work. Within 30 seconds of walking in, he'd placed his thermos flask, which he's been using for around a year, on the kitchen side, and the thing literally explodes. Like the stop flies off across the room and there's water everywhere. It didn't have anything in it besides plain tap water. I can't explain this, also not the first time something like this has happened. Last year we had an ordinary pint glass with water just shattering out of nowhere, and I could not explain that either. 10 minutes later a huge thunderstorm hit and lasted for a good hour. We don't usually get storms like that. They're rare, and it made me wonder if the spirits here were able to cause all of these things to happen by drawing energy from the storm. After it passed, this was about 5 days ago, I haven't seen or heard anything since besides the odd shadow like I usually see.
Why does the light keep turning on in the middle of the night? I have one light in my bedroom. It is attached to the fan on the ceiling. The light switch powers the whole light/fan unit. At night, I leave the fan on and have to turn off the light with a remote. This remote sits on the opposite side of my nightstand. I do not sleepwalk. 2 times now, within the past few months, the light has turned on by itself. Always around 12 or 1 a.m. The first time was a stressful night of sleep with our toddler. I was in the bedroom, my husband was in the nursery with our daughter. All of a sudden, the light gets flipped on and I jump out of bed and run to the nursery thinking my husband was angry and came in and flipped on the light to get my help with something. When I got to the nursery, he was sitting in the chair with our daughter and asked what was wrong. He saw the bedroom light come on. Neither of us had done it, so I just went back to bed. I've been particularly stressed again this week, and last night it happened again. Except it didn't wake my husband up. Just me. So, grab the remote and turn the light off again. Is it weird that it has happened twice? We have an electrician coming next week. My head is telling me all sorts of things, like faulty wiring, or someone trying to tell me something. We put my grandma in hospice this week, and I don't know if it's my grandpa trying to tell me something or if I'm reaching for things. Not to seem nuts, but in the past, I have heard people call my name or whisper in my ear while I sleep. And have vivid dreams of deceased friends and family without ever having conversations in them. Since being pregnant, I feel like I've been too busy to notice things like that. It's probably all a weird neurological response to something.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.